Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. This is the Deep Dive. My name's Drew Creekmur. I'm the Director of Advisory Services here at Creekmur Wealth, and I'm joined, as always, by John Creekmur, our founder and Senior Wealth Advisor. And John, we're going to be talking about a recent massive legislation that was just passed here in Washington, D.C. Regarding upcoming changes to the tax code. And so we're going to dig into it high level. As you all know, this was recently passed just before July 4th. So we don't have all the details yet, but we're going to talk about some key factors and some things for you to keep in mind as you move forward into the rest of this year, now that we have an idea of how this bill has shaken out. But before we do that, John, July 4th is coming up here tomorrow. So anything planned at this point in time for you?
I'll tell you what, July 4th is tomorrow. You and I are recording this right now on the 3rd in the afternoon. And actually, I'm getting ready to get changed and head over to Morton, Illinois for the Independence Day celebration. And that's something the last 4 years we partnered with the city of Morton. And as far as to put on a phenomenal family centered activity, the bands are there, there's food trucks, there's obviously fireworks and a lot of games for the kids, about 40,000 people there. So pleased to help bring that into the community. And Drew, with us, as everybody knows, is all about actually creating experiences and memories that have really are center points as far as with us living out an incredible life. And we love actually partnering with organizations and people to do that. And man, oh man, it brings a lot of different things in play to do that. So one is, how do you structure a plan to live out your incredible life for yourself? How do you maximize your earnings? How do you set up an income plan? How do you manage your taxes? And we're in the heat of the summer. Everything's heating up as far as with stuff going on as far as the economy and politics, geopolitical politics, but also on tax law legislation change. And like I said, we just had the latest version. President Trump loves to give nicknames to everything. So whether you love him or hate him, you have to say it's kind of creative what he does. But the big, beautiful bill, and people have had different views on that, and they call it very many different things as far as BBB, some of which is not safe for us to report here. But what's interesting is a lot of provisional changes, Drew. We're just starting to dig into that. But from a high level, what are some things that we're seeing inside that bill?
Yeah, so high level, we're going to see a lot of the core aspects of the previous 2017 tax law changes actually carry forward and be made permanent, which I think that's a big thing, John, is the permanency of this. Over the last decade, really, it's been hanging over everyone's head that there's going to be a change of some type coming up. And so I like that we know with permanence what's going to be happening in the future with a number of these changes as it relates to rates and brackets being much more consistent. Additionally, we are going to see the standard deduction actually slightly increase for the 2025 tax year, both for single filers, married filing jointly, but we also see a slight increase for individuals over the age of 65 as it relates to their bonus deduction that they get. And so from a reduction of taxable income standpoint, we should see folks seeing a slight reduction from 2024 versus their 2025 changes. Now, John, there's some other interesting things in here, some newer things. One that stood out to me had to do with charitable deductions for non-itemizers. Really what that means is if you file your taxes and take the standard deduction, previously, you really weren't able to get any type of deduction for charitable giving. Now, you're able to actually deduct up to $1,000 for a single filer or up to $2,000 for married filing jointly. And John, as you know, we have a lot of clients who have a lot of charitable areas that they're really actively involved in. And I think that's a really big benefit that is going to come out of this for folks. But that said, that's kind of the big core aspects. But John, anything else that stands out to you about this new legislation?
Yeah, I mean, I'd keep in mind that anytime we see tax law change, it's really a tool that's been used for ever since we had income tax in the United States, all the way back to the mid 1800s. It really to drive human behavior. And so when you think about it, why would they give this additional deduction as far as for charitable giving, even if you're a standardized filer? Well, the reason being is that they recognize from the federal government that more can be accomplished with local organizations, not-for-profit organizations. And so by allowing you to deduct $1,000 to $2,000 off of your income on top of your standard deduction, they're actually trying to incentivize people to go about and make contributions to local charities because we see grassroots improvement in society. Now, another one coming down the pipeline is any loans on new vehicles purchased after 2025. The interest on that loan is actually deductible. So that's a brand new expense as far as itemized deduction that we see in there. And so that's a huge change. There's some other elements as far as child tax credit. And so I know that we have a slowing down, growing population, deaccelerating, and we also know the cost of inflation is wreaking havoc, especially on lower income to middle income to upper middle income families at a higher percentage level. And so by having a credit as far as on child tax that actually incentivizes or provides a relief in that area. Now, Drew, there's a lot of other things inside that bill that are lower level things that will not impact a lot of people that have a lot of planning application to it. And there's some things that folks aren't even aware of. And so let's say you're a small business owner, and this is actually in existence, been in existence for over 100 years. And a lot of people are not even aware of different rules as far as inside the Internal Revenue Code. And it's about navigating the code to decrease overall taxes. So if you're a small business owner, you can actually take advantage of what's called the Augusta rule, which allows you to rent your own house up to 14 days a year for business expenses, charge yourself rent, which is an expense to the business. And so you can write it off and not pay income tax on the dollars that you pay yourself, but you have to stay below 14 days of doing that in a year. Well, that's in the code. There's many small business owners that are never aware of that, so they'll never take the deduction. And so we can point out over 100 different items inside the current tax law, not to even mention the things from the new tax law change that are so critical that you get correct to save money and to do it legally. And so, Drew, it's about having that plan put together and making sure we understand the code and make adjustments as far as on the things that we're doing in our planning.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And that's actually an area of feedback we've gotten from our clients is really wanting more assistance in doing that finite tax planning. And so we've actually spent the last number of years, but even more so over the last 12 months or so, really developing within our firm the competencies and people that have areas of expertise when it comes to tax planning. And so, John, we have some new programs actually rolling out on the tax planning and tax preparation front that if you're a client of ours, your advisors will be speaking with you about. But really, it has to do with reducing the tax you're paying in the here and now, and in the longer term as well, but then having someone who can actually prepare your tax returns to properly take advantage of the number of different tax planning strategies that we have out there. And so, John, if you are a client of ours and you're sitting there saying, hey, I really wonder, how does this new tax law changes, how do they affect me? What would you recommend that person do?
Yeah, first and foremost, educate yourself, and not from partisan sources, but from nonpartisan sources. And so we have a number of resources that'll be coming out here the next couple of weeks. We'll make sure we get out to everybody and make sure you read those and are fully aware of those. That's the first thing you want to do. Secondly, you want to make sure you talk to the advisor that you work with here at Creekmur Wealth Advisors. And if you don't currently have an advisor with us and someone pass on this deep dive to you, make sure you connect to our office. And we can actually walk you through as far as the tax planning and the fully integrated financial planning services that we provide. And just somebody may not be aware, over the last 2 years, we heard such great feedback that we want to see more integrated wealth management tax planning. We like to have folks help us do tax planning, but then also we want to make sure that we have the proper way of fully bringing together your financial planning and your tax preparation. And so some phenomenal things that have happened. We've actually partnered and merged into Creekmur Wealth Advisors, a phenomenal tax planning firm based in Virginia, fully on board now, and with 20 years of experience in tax planning, saving millions of dollars in taxpayer dollars by properly structuring our tax plans. Now, we've also partnered with a wonderful partner up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. His name's Jeremy, and he's argued before federal courts as far as in tax law cases. And so phenomenal planner that we have access to us and is saving our clients millions of dollars already as far as in recommendations, actually tens of millions of dollars. As far as for clients who are looking to sell highly appreciated assets or large volume, large dollar amount IRAs, or even selling businesses or real estate, phenomenal planning sources there. But Drew, we're rolling out a way of bringing together a fully integrated wealth management plan that layers in not just tax planning, but also tax preparation and will and trust review and creation. And so all this is coming out here the next month, Drew, as a way to actually fully integrate things as far as with taxes, as far as your tax planning, tax preparation into the wealth management that we've always provided.
Yeah. Thanks for that explanation, John, and high level overview. And guys, it's an incredible program. As you all know, we're really plugged in within the wealth management industry, and we've actually not seen a solution like this be provided to clients around the country before. And so we're incredibly excited about it. Our team has done hours upon hours of work to have this ready to roll out to you all starting here in the month of July. And so our advisory team is being brought up to speed now. But if you have any questions about it, you're saying, hey, I want to walk through maybe my tax situation, how it changes this year. Or you know what? I haven't looked at my trust or my will document in over a decade. Maybe it would make sense to have an attorney review that. Reach out to your advisor and they will walk you through what this new system looks like. And we think it's going to provide a ton of value in helping each and every one of you better achieve your big picture overall financial goals. And so, John, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of changes right now. But what's one thing you would tell everyone to keep in mind amidst all the changes and uncertainty and things evolving around us right now?
Yeah, in the midst of change, there's always opportunity. But I don't know, opportunity hits the people where they know where they want to go. And so make sure you understand your goal objectives, make sure you understand, know what your endpoint is, how you want to live life, what you want to look like. And then from there, start the discussion as far as all the changes. Don't focus on the change itself as far as how it aligns with your personal beliefs. Instead, focus upon the goals, and from there, let's create a plan that will allow you to execute and live it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Well, guys, I hope you all have a great 4th of July. This is absolutely coming out after the 4th. So I hope you had a great weekend spending time with family and friends and celebrating. If you have any questions, our team is standing by and ready to help in any way that we can. And we look forward to talking with you all soon. Have a good one.